Hi, John Morgan here, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live, our weekly show right here on the internet. And well, you can find us everywhere right over here at the bottom. We're live on Rumble, Facebook, X, and YouTube every Tuesday evening at 5 p.m. And well, this time of year, we've got some fall gardening projects that we're working on. And also, right now in the greenhouse, we have poinsettias that are growing that will be ready around Christmas time, or Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday season, I should say. Well, up first, I thought we would take a look at the weather because right now we are in the 70s or high 70s, near 80, which feels pretty nice outside right now. Um, and tonight we're looking at lows down around 43. So this time of year is when we start getting those big temperature swings. So even on a day like today where it's 80 degrees out, you need to keep an eye on the temperature. And if you still have like container plants outside that you're trying to kind of get through the frosty season, heading into winter, you want to make sure you keep an eye on it so you can bring those inside on cold nights. And yeah, looking ahead, Thursday we're looking at a high of 66, a low of 37. So yeah, that would definitely be one of those nights. And then heading into the weekend, we're going to continue to kind of have cooler nights, some pretty reasonable days. Sunday we're looking at 60 degrees, so that's going to be a bit chilly. But uh, but yeah, looking at the upcoming forecast, um, yeah, we're looking at pretty much clear, sunny weather. So that's going to be nice, especially for getting outside and getting gardening projects done. And that brings me to my next thing, which is a video of what I've been working on in my own landscape. And I recorded this last night. This time of year, a lot of gardening I actually do outside in the evenings with a headlamp on because, by the time I get home, 6:30 or so in the evening, the sun's already setting. So, yeah, I just work outside at nighttime. So, last night it kind of worked out because I needed to burn some brush. Um, If you watched Bob's Live, you might have seen previously where I'm working on clearing out my garden because I didn't grow a garden this year. I was helping take care of my dad, and I just didn't have time to plant a garden. So over the course of the summer, the weeds took over, and by weeds I mean like 4 to 5 foot tall goldenrod and things like that. Uh, so I am literally like resetting back to square one with the garden. Stripping up the mulch, clearing out the beds, and it's a slow process. I tried attacking it with a weed eater, but the string hitting stems, it was just taking forever. So the thing that actually works better is a brush hook, but that sucks a lot of energy out of you. So I'm just chipping away at it a little bit at a time. And well, last night, because we've had such dry weather, I haven't had a chance to like put together a burn pile to get rid of some of the yard waste that I have. It's too much to compost, and also there's seeds mixed in with it that I wouldn't necessarily want to be composting. So the best solution is to burn it where I grow my row crops, and then that way at least I'm putting some potash back into the ground. So let's take a look at what I was working on last night. Alright, so tonight I am out here working in the garden. This time of year, not a lot of daylight in the evening to work. But I am making progress on clearing out the garden. And it still looks pretty bad, but I do have a plan going forward. So hopefully you can see what I'm about to show you. But yeah, just let me show you what I'm doing. Okay, so at this corner, it might look pretty nasty, but that's actually where I've stripped mulch away. So I have a pile over there. I'm going to start working my way down this side. I've cleared off a section of this bed that I've cleared off previously, and I have that forest to work my way into. But hey, winter's long. I've got plenty of time. So tonight, I'm going to try to clean up some of this, cut down some more of that. And now where it's finally wet in the evening with dew, I can get a little burn pile going. I've got some watering cans here, and I'll stick with it until it's out. But that way I can start cleaning this off. Alright, so I got that bed cleaned out. This bed is scraped down to bare soil. This bed, once I start this on fire and it burns down, I'm going to hit that with the weed torch, and probably hit that one with the weed torch. And then I also have the mulch scraped up from the other side of that bed around to this corner. So I think that's pretty good progress, and that puts us probably somewhere around the 50% mark on clearing all this out. So it's a long process, but we're getting there. You know, sometimes I was dealing, with a family health issue the last couple of years, and I didn't have time to put in on the garden. But life happens sometimes, and you just gotta dig in, chew away at it a little piece at a time, and you'll get there. So I am confident that by next spring we are going to have a beautiful early spring garden planted here in late March, early April. And over here where I'm getting ready to burn this pile, which it's kind of a mix of green and dry stuff, so it's gonna be a little bit smoky to burn, but that's good. It's kind of dry out right now. I want to contain this fire, but this is going to go where my garden rows are going, so that'll help add some nutrients back into the soil here. All right, I'm all nice and hot and sweaty now, so let's light a fire. Fire is burnt down to a more manageable level, so while it smolders, I'm going to use one of my favorite garden tools, my little flamethrower here, and burn off the top of this bed. And then I'm going to hit that one where I've got some green growth going on, and I might hit that one back there that I just now cut down. And going over it just kind of helps
kill everything, all the new growth and everything. And then my plan is to eventually put mulch over it this winter. So let me go ahead and fire up the torch and get started. So I'm especially hitting anything green. And it doesn't take long. I mean, you're basically kind of instantly boiling the water in the leaves. And it does a great job at killing plants. So my fire is burnt down to ashes, and I'm getting ready to put some water on it to make sure it's out. And then I'm going to head inside and warm up. But this is a reminder that even though cold weather is here and winter is knocking at our door, there's still a lot of stuff that you can do outside during the winter time. And for me, the big project is going to be this garden this winter, and also prepping my wildflower garden. So you're definitely going to see more of me outside this winter working on gardening projects. And head outside yourself and find a project to work on. It's great to get outside in the wintertime and get some fresh air.
Alright, so yeah, that is the current status of my garden. And I have no shortage of stuff to do. I've got a to-do list. I actually need to transcribe it from last year's journal into this year's. But I have a to-do list a mile long for the landscape at the house. We've been doing some construction too on remodeling our house. So the front yard is a mess too. And yeah, I've got a ton of stuff to do, and that means there's going to be no shortage of videos of me working on little gardening projects like that through this winter. Um, so that is all that I have for this week. Next week, we'll probably head uptown and check out the poinsettia crop. It's been a couple weeks since we took a look at the poinsettias, and they're coming along really nicely. So, yeah, it'll be a good time to check in on those. We're catching them about once every 2 to 3 weeks. And, well, as I said, that is all that I have for this week. Patty says she likes the torch. It is a, I think is it Bernzomatic or something like that is the brand name. But it takes the little propane like lantern bottles. They like a 5-pound bottle, 1-pound bottle, something like that. But the little lantern bottles, it just screws on, and then it has a little piezoelectric lighter on it where you just squeeze it and it makes a spark and lights it. And one bottle will last about 3 hours. But I use those little bottles. I use them for the weed torch, and then I also have a couple little heaters that I like take out to the garage if I'm working out there in the wintertime. But yeah, that weed torch is really handy. Especially if you don't like using chemical-based weed killers. My house, I have a brick house, so I don't have to worry about, hitting it with a flamethrower like that. I don't have to worry about, my house catching on fire or something. But again, just for regular grass growth, like up against a house, just sweeping it along nice and slowly, it kills all the grass in about a 4-inch wide strip, which is perfect for getting up next to the house with the riding lawnmower. So I find that using that like around the house and around my outbuildings and stuff, I can save a lot of time in the summer by doing that and then not needing to go along with a weed eater. And then also things like cracks in sidewalks. It is excellent for killing weeds in sidewalks and just different things like that. And then also, bigger projects like cleaning out these beds. I also use it in the summertime in my meadow garden to spot treat areas in my wildflower bed. If I get any invasive species coming up, I can hit them with that weed torch, and I'm just treating that one little small area. I'm not using an herbicide, so I don't have to worry about killing my wildflowers. So yeah, it is just an excellent garden tool. And well, that is all that I have for this week's episode. So until next time, keep growing.